Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the powerhouse team from Garage Composites, Tony Gonzalez, Jolene Krizan, Jordon Schoolmeester, and moderating this morning's panel, please give it up for Sam Dantzler.
All right, how you doing this morning? Yeah, last day crew. It's nice to have. You guys are the warriors. We thought maybe there'd be two people out there. I don't know. So this is a Q&A session, which implies something. There should be a Q to drive the A from the stage. Okay, so hopefully you guys came armed with a few. Lee's got a microphone that he can pass around, or we can repeat your question or whatever it looks like. But I appreciate having the team up here with me. We were talking a little bit last night about kind of what we thought of the industry on the backside of what you guys have felt. How many of you, just quick show of hands, are walking away feeling something different? Something exciting, something negative, something scary, something awesome? I think that's why we come to these. And it's so funny because all of these products are online. We can see a picture of every single one of these online, but you come here and you're like, oh, this is why we do this, right? I just think we're all clinically insane. You walk around and no one needs any of this, and I want all of it. Literally everything. It's such a great industry. I've had a lot of thoughts, and I kind of want to express a little bit of those to you, and then we'll throw it to the panel they don't know what I'm going to talk about, by the way, but I'm just going to say a couple things of what I feel, and then you guys can tell me if I'm right or wrong or what I missed or color between the lines, if you will, and give you guys each an opportunity just to get it rolling, and then we'll jump into whatever kind of questions you have. And maybe I'm going to touch on what you have. We'll see. Schoolie's presentation was on your team, how we build up your team, how we hold them accountable, how we get them to want to engage with customers on your showroom floor. Jolene was talking about the data behind when we do what Schoolie's talking, what do the numbers look like? How does it change? I was talking a lot about the top 10% based on operating profit relative to the national average and how to bridge the gap, which is, in a sense, doing these two things over here. And then Tony was talking about the rate of adoption of technology, any technology, all of technology that's out there. I have access to all of our presentations. If you sat through them and you want us to pull up a slide that maybe you questioned or whatever it happens to be, I can pull it up on the iPad that's in front of me right now. I also have our benchmarks, our national averages, and our top 10 for Harley and metric for all of 2025. So if you'd like to see that, do so. Maybe we'll pull that up based off of where this conversation goes. But let me just tee this off. Here are my thoughts. We've heard a lot about AI, and then you have a lot, thank you, sir, you have a lot of vendors out here that have all kinds of different technology. And one of the things that I find hilarious to me is that back in the 80s, when Joe Girard, the number one salesperson in auto, who sold 13,004 cars in 15 years, the math is 82 cars a month, every month for 15 years. Sit with that number for a little bit. When he wrote the book, when he's playing in the space in the mid-80s, the average salesperson in the auto industry benchmarked and actually was delivering 15 cars per month. Today, that benchmark is 15 cars per month. So think about all the money we spend on CRMs and DMSs, and this system doesn't connect to that one, and we got to API this thing over 15 cars a month. I know we're not the auto industry, but sometimes I just wonder if we keep trying to buy a solution as opposed to just doing a better job in our stores. I believe, me leaving here, I am very clear on the fact that we have two channels. I'm calling them channels. I'm saying channel number one is we're all playing in this space and we're all enticed by the easy solution. If I can write a check and fix that and get a bunch more people coming in or get a bunch more eyes on my digital front door, don't call it a digital lead, call it a digital front door, because that creates more urgency with your staff to get to them in a timely manner. But if I can just throw all that money onto this channel and then AI can really help me just fire up that channel, okay, cool. That's not called selling. That is not the definition of selling. Selling is causing something to happen. It's when somebody comes in and had such a great experience with you and they leave and they say, I can't believe I'm buying this. This was amazing. I never thought I'd be taking this home today. And you feel amazing because you sold that product, hopefully with integrity and the right model and all those great things. That's selling. That's an emotional connection between two human beings, okay? And then there's polite clerking, which is Tony knows exactly what motorcycle he wants. Schoolie knows he's going to get another KTM 300. I don't know why we even have to talk about it. You're going to go online, do your research. at some point, we all know the next one, or we have an idea of the next one. But I made the comment yesterday that in the new riders to the industry still ranks 20+% of your purchases. What does a new rider, whether it's an ATV, UTV, or motorcycle, what do they not know about the industry? What does a new rider not know? And the answer is all of it. They don't know anything, right? So I really doubt they're going to go online and click a couple buttons and buy a $15,000 toy as their first purchase. I don't believe that's true. I don't think you do that as your first purchase in a new industry. I think you want to go talk to somebody and be guided and find someone you trust and have a great experience with them. In fact, I would ask you, what number purchase would it take for you to go online and click through it? Would it be your first purchase if you've never been in that industry before? Would it be your second, your third? Anybody got a number you can throw out there for me? You personally, if you got in a new industry, you got into sailing and you're so excited about a sailboat, how many boats would you have to have before you're like, I think I can do this on my own and click through and buy exactly what I want? And I'll throw several tens of thousands of dollars at that situation. 5 to 10? Boating industry, I think, because that ticket price is higher, it might be higher. But what I'm getting at is you have multiple opportunities to engage that customer, make that customer a customer for life before they start playing in the digital space and doing it all on their own. You follow me? Here are the channels. The digital space, which all of these products are amazing and they can help you let customers find their own way to the product and politely clerk them. And then there's the in-store channel, a totally different channel. As different as the news is on one channel and the sports is on the other channel, these are two very different channels. One is capturing the emotional brain and moving somebody into a space of saying yes, and one of them is letting them do what they always want to do. And I'll finish it with this before I throw it to you guys. In this channel, the in-store emotional channel, margins are higher. You have customers for life. You have organic referrals. In this channel, we have margin compression, no customers for life, and they're not coming back or giving you organic referrals unless you have the next deal on the next widget because brand loyalty is going down. This one yields far less dollars than this one. This one yields customers for life where this one doesn't. Why are we so excited about this channel when this channel is the one we need to pour gasoline on? My feelings. Take it, guys. One of you. Tell me where I'm wrong. Color between the lines for me.
I don't know that I would agree that that channel has to have lower margins. That's where I would push back. I don't know that that has to be a truth. And my next statement or thought is going to be very down the middle, but I don't know why we can't have both. Meaning, why can't we utilize the tools? Why can't we set them up to be successful when they come in store? Meaning, why can't we use all the cool software, all the technology that's out there to allow me to make my service department journey more smooth? That when I come in there, drop it off, they know me, they know my bike, they know I want out, they know what jokes to make about why my dirt bike's clean or dirty. And I want that kind of experience when I'm in store, but I want that to be augmented by your second channel, you would call it. So I want the tools to be used to make my in-store experience better. Because if I'm that far down the path of I've bought this many snowmobiles, I've bought this many dirt bikes, this many motorcycles, then that suits that customer who has already become the customer for life, the repeat, the referral, all that stuff. I now get to capitalize on the tools to make my experience easier or more fluid. And so I know that's a middle of the road answer, but I don't know why we can't have both. That also means that we need to get better at both. Our in-store experience, how we treat our customers, how we train our staff, so that that in-store experience is top shelf, allowing the tools to work and do their job. This is the no shit statement of the morning so far, but the tools are only as good as if you use them. So you look at the reference that you dropped that was in Tony's presentation yesterday about salespeople before all this were in the auto industry selling 15 a month, and now we're still selling 15 a month. Well, that's because whatever tools we are using, are we really maximizing on those tools to better both of your channels you're referring to?
Tony Schooley's talking about technology and merging it to do both. I think that's an aha statement, but talk to us about the adoption of technology relative to this talking point?
Yeah, so adoption of technology. The fascinating thing that you brought up, which was the 15 cars in 1980,
right,
and the 15 cars in 2025, 2024. They all had the same issue involved with them, whether it was 1980, 2025, and that's called a human being, right? So to Schooley's point is, if I'm big chiefing with crayons, it's put the damn person on the traffic log, make sure you call them back. Or it is, hey, make sure that you use your cell phone and click their name and put them in the CRM and call them back. It's the human factor. To your point, my whole presentation and throughout this whole show, and who have we not talked to that the two initials of A and I have not come out of their mouth of every single conversation? So it's not a fad, it's here. The adoption of evolution that I was pointing out was that it took us 3,800 years to get off a horse for transportation. 3,800 years, there you go. And it took 200 years to get from the horse to an airplane that can fly 450 miles an hour. And 200 years, the Industrial Revolution. It was mind-bending, all the things it really truly did. It really truly settled the human race into cities. That's what created cities, was this, what you're looking at. And then if you go to the next one, Sam, is, I expressed that in 20 years, sorry for the way that I put the slides up, but there you go. In 20 years, you've gotten from this thing called the internet, again, arguably, and I'm the guy that's in the court of, it's the greatest thing ever. I don't want the bubonic plague, and I don't want the Black Death, and I don't want to walk 4 miles and 4 hours to school in the snow, right? I don't want to do that. So people that are complaining about technology, yes, it comes with its own complications. However, if you look in 20 years where we are, it's incredible, the precipice of where we're set to go. And my whole point to the whole thing is you're 100% correct, is we still exist as a company because dealers are still lacking in customer service, forward-facing customer service when people walk through the door. The most important moment, which I will argue it's more important now than it even was 10 or 20 years ago, because the customer's so damn distilled and their attention span is so small that if you're not good inside your 4 walls, you're screwed. They're going somewhere where they feel welcome. But if you are sitting here waiting for somebody to throw you a life jacket that is AI, and I'm just going to wait till technology catches me, you will shutter your doors and you'll go out of business. You got to get with the times. And the last thing I'll say on this before I turn it over is, you got to be a leader in your business. You're all owners. You all take on the mortgages. You all have the sleepless nights. You all have the gray hair. And anybody that truly owns a business really, truly understands what an owner is. We know you're an owner. You need to now lead and get yourself out of your comfort zone of, oh, I'll wait for this CRM or that DMS or the latest technology to find me. You should just go open up a book or go open up a website and figure out how it can work for your business, because we all have dealers in our 20 clubs that are already leveraging just ChatGPT in ways that are like, damn, ChatGPT is watching their competition. ChatGPT is watching their pre-owned units. ChatGPT is helping them with their inventory. It works. And so be a leader and go out and at least harness it so that you're not letting the river take you. You're swimming.
The only
Jolene.
thing, when you asked the question, how many units would it take before you did that? The first thing I was thinking, personally, what would it take? And my thought was, if I go into a dealership and have a bad experience, that goes to 1, because I'll be done and I'll just go home. I'll do the research myself.
Great. I like the leadership. I do get that. The bad experiences, I always tell people will tell me, people are going online instead of coming into our stores, and they don't like my response, which is they're going online because they came into your store. Because they got Johnny, it's always Johnny, the sales guy that didn't know what he's doing, right? And he had a bad experience where he's dropping an F-bomb on the show floor and he thinks it's cool and he doesn't know his audience, whatever it happens to be. And if I'm not going to get if I'm not going to get an amazing experience from you, why not go online? I can go online and get it to my house in 24 hours at a price that you probably can't beat. But I came into your store, and that's the part that just blows my mind, where they still want to come into the store. There's clearly something the store has an opportunity to offer that the online purchase doesn't, and it is the emotional connection. We sell dreams, memories, and experiences. This is what we sell. We don't sell motorcycles or toys or ATVs or UTVs. We sell dreams, motorcycles, and experiences. And I would suggest you guys look at the word recreation. Recreation. We play in the outdoor recreation industry. Would you agree? Break it down. Recreate. The recreation. You're recreating memories. For your kids, the bike you had in college, you're recreating memories unless you don't have a memory because you're a new rider, and then you had this idea of what it looks like to own this product, right? And it's incumbent on the salesperson just to extract that. And can it be done in the digital space? I think the efficiency of getting the lead to the salesperson can absolutely happen in the digital space. But I've seen the responses from AI. If you put a lead in and AI keeps bouncing it back, number one, it's amazing at how many times it touches the customer over and over. Hey, Sam, hey, what about hey, Sam? To the point where I'm like, I gotta shut that off because that's annoying and nobody's talking to me about why I want it, where I'm gonna take it, the dreams, the memories, the experiences on it. So I think it's lacking in that sense. But I do think it's both. We gotta be more efficient in it. Any other thoughts on this before we open up? Yeah.
Well,
go,
the one
Tony.
thing that I do want to point out on that, Sam, is that you and I think that way because we're old.
True story. Gray hairs to prove it.
I'll
right?
second that.
So the recreate and the experience coming in the doors, right? They are having their experience right here. This is their experience, which is, to us, it's sad because, again, that's that immigrant phase of we knew what it was like to sit around a dinner table and have to make conversation because we didn't have a phone. We knew what it was like to have to stop at a gas station. Like, there's people in this world that don't even know that one of the coolest things about a gas station was they were the original MapQuest of the world. If I didn't know where the hell I was, I'd go to I'd go to a gas station, and they knew what was going on. If I needed the time, I would call the operator. Kids don't even know what an operator is. It's zero. What time is it right now? Oh, it's 5:32. Like, that was a thing. Their experiences now come in a digital form, as sad as that sounds to us. And so if you're not good in that space as well, specifically in the future, you could be doomed.
I agree with Tone, and I feel like, again, I'll keep saying this, is I don't know why we can't have both, because you are serving multiple generations, right? To your point. So you have to, and my push to you, and a lot about Tony's presentation, was how do you figure out how to dovetail new technology into what you're currently doing? You don't need to reinvent what you're doing. The in-store experience still has to be there. I still want to come touch, feel, joke, rub elbows, crack jokes. I love that about this industry. To Sam's earlier point, that's why you still come here. You can get all this information, and half these people will bring it to your dealership for you, but yet you still come here for the relationship side of it. You're gonna have to figure out in your business, how do you dovetail or how do you make this technology work with you and for you? Instead of being stuck behind or left behind, how are you going to leverage the new stuff, AI, be it through service, through parts and pro shop, through your major unit sales? How are you going to utilize it to serve multiple generations and what they want in their experience, but also making my in-store experience better? I pay all of my service repair orders by text message. Doesn't mean I don't want to come in and BS with my service advisor and pick my bike up clean. I still want that, but I just want to be able to pay it, bing, done, sent, mostly because I don't want to know what the total was. But I want both worlds, and I don't know why we can't operate with both and figure out how it betters your whole dealership experience with all the new technology that's coming out.
Okay, you clearly know where we all stand on that. Let's go to some Q&A. Who's got a question for us about that or anything else in the industry? Bill Hearn.
Motorcycle legend,
Bright
right
yellow
there.
shirt yesterday.
And he's in
bright
blue today.
Blue shirt today.
Okay, you know, everybody that comes this, you get all these good ideas. You're pretty hyped up. Just right now, I've written down 4 kind of action steps for next week. But the reality is, you walk in the dealership on Monday, the women's toilet's overflowing, the office manager just gave notice, and the tech dropped a bike off of the lift. Okay, and that's by 10 o'clock on Monday. So
Parts manager's sleeping with the F&I manager, too.
Right,
You forgot
yeah.
that.
Always the F&I manager.
So you know, you have these good intentions of getting all this stuff done, but you kind of get caught in the swirl. You know, by Thursday, you realize, man, I got to get back to this stuff, but you really don't get it done. And at best, you pick one or two of your ideas, you kind of piddle around with them, but you don't put in enough energy to really implement it long term and get the policy where it's a habit. So what I'd like each of you to do is, if you could just pick one thing that you would recommend that a dealer does and focus on that, just accomplish one single thing, you know, what would that be? And, you know, you're dealing off of the average of everything you see, so that might not apply to everybody here. We kind of come up with the average telephone number or something, but I'd like to get your perspective of, if you're going to just go home and work on one thing, what would that be for each of you?
You guys want to start?
I'll start. My first thing's always going to be traffic log, but I think it depends on the position that you're in. As an owner, I would say it's also equally as important to utilize your team, because if you're an owner or a GM, my first thing I would do is utilize my managers and have them each have their one thing. That way you have a broader scope, but always going to be get everybody on the traffic log, because once you get them on the traffic log, then we can manage the rest of the process.
Schoolie?
Yeah, I'll take your homework and I'll answer that question too. But first, my advice comes from our managers training academies. And I think that the swirl kills all great intentions, right? Your swirl of the dealership kills all your intentions. So the first thing I would tell you before I answer that is something we teach in the academies is prioritize, execute, and then delegate. So what happens is, like a New Year resolution, we come home with 10 phenomenal ideas, and we come and try to do all 10, and we don't do any of them, right? We try to do too much. So first, prioritize, which is what you're doing, asking us to give you one. I would urge all of you, whatever $10,000 idea you got from here, prioritize them, pick 3. Right? Don't pick all of them, because they won't happen, and then figure out how to execute. So who's in charge of it? Who can I delegate some of this to? What date will we have it done by? And really get some organization to prioritize them, execute them, and then delegate, to Jolene's part about getting your managers involved. Because when they own it, they're going to have to put way more sweat equity in it when they actually own it. So prioritize, execute, delegate, and set a deadline. That's number one of how we stay on course for those. Mine that I would say is speed to lead and quality of engagement. It is atrocious to this day. I have the opportunity that I get to secret shop all of you, and it is maddening, saddening, frustrating, but also encouraging, because I know that I'll always have a job. The speed and quality of lead response is what I think this industry really needs to get better at. It's somewhere between 5 minutes and 5 days, if any reply at all. And everybody will say, oh, I'm trying to get it to an hour. I'm trying to get to 30. I'm trying to get under 5. It's all good, but what is the quality of it as well as the speed of it? I will specifically put in a lead. Would you please text me back? I get a phone call. Please don't email me. I prefer text. I get an email. Please send me a video of this bike. I get an answer of, what color are you looking for? They're not even listening or engaging with what leads I'm putting in. So speed and quality of lead would be the thing that I would start focusing on, because it is crucial.
Mine is simple. Jolene talks about the traffic log, which implies that we had a conversation with a customer. Schoolie's talking about the speed to the lead, which brings up what is the conversation with the customer, right? But before the lead came in, whether it's a digital lead or somebody walking through your front door, this is our sales process. We've changed one thing. We just changed step 2 from probe to the guided discovery. Because as the 2 old guys got over 50, we didn't like the word probe any longer. It became the guided discovery. Other than that, that's the sales process that we've had for a very long time. Please note what step 1 is, which, Bill, that is my answer. Step 1 is look at how much time is supposed to be spent in the greet. It is the most important step. It should be the longest step before you ever start talking about the it. It is all about the customer. We know through our training there are That's actually 3 parts to the human brain, but the 2 parts that we focus on are the limbic and the neocortex. And the limbic is the emotional brain, and the neocortex is the logical brain. Okay? They're different things, like different channels. What is logical about owning any single thing on the showroom floor? 0 things. It is an emotional purchase that is done with trust. The only way you get that is by tapping into the limbic brain, the emotional side of it. What do people like talking about? Themselves. Let them talk about themselves in the greet. That's what allows for the rapport, which ultimately leads to the trust. Spend more time in the greet is my long-winded answer, Bill. Tony.
Bill, when you drive in, and everybody in here, when you drive into the dealership parking lot, you look up and you see that the light's out in one of your manufacturer's signs. You see that there's an ashtray out front with a bunch of cigarettes in it. You see that one of your windows to the showroom is broken, and you, to your own admission, said your toilet's overflowing, correct? What would you do? Somebody needs to fix the light. Who the hell has the ashtray out front, and why is it there? Clean up all the cigarette butts, put it out back. Somebody call the window company, get that fixed, and we need a plumber, correct? Or let's go plunge. So when I was younger, the whole concept of dealership visits was like 5 or 6, just so I could go hang out, right? And you always lock your door and you always count your till, correct? Everybody in here, right? Okay. 85 to 90% of your leads now start where? The internet. So the one thing I would tell you to do is go look at your digital footprint, because everybody is there first. That doesn't mean it's the right answer, that the greed isn't there, right? Or that we don't organize ourselves. All that is correct, and there is no right answer. But the one thing that I say constantly in my meetings is, I mean, have you guys looked at your websites? They're atrocious. They're atrocious. One picture from a manufacturer of a thing. You say that you have 75 pre-owned motorcycles. I see 10 of them actually on your website. It looks the same as your competition. There's no flair. There's nothing new. What is your social media doing? How do you answer emails? What is your chat bot doing? Your digital footprint, to me, is my answer, because it is the most important thing. As far it's your parking lot that has cigarette butts and a broken window and a sign that is missing and your toilet's overflowing digitally, and everybody starts there. Who are the 15% that are starting at the yellow pages or just walking into your dealership because they heard about your shop? Nobody. Everybody starts digitally and online. Go look at your digital footprint and see how you are talking to people in the number one means of how they find you.
Is the next question, how does a digital toilet overflow?
Because that was awesome.
That's
your new
We'll
SOI.
talk about that later. I'm excited about that one. To Tony's point,
Great question. Thank you.
here you go. Here's the Harley, or here's the metric space in the digital traffic log. Look at the headroom here. 3,394 leads, 536 appointments set to the tune of 14.6%.
And all those leads, just so everybody knows, what that is everything that is not a human coming through your front door. Phone, email, chat, anything electronic coming into a dealership. That's 3,400 of those things occurring in the year. A 14% uptake in an appointment set is atrocious.
Schoolie, when would you give out your personal information?
Almost never, but it seems to end up on a lot of bathroom walls. I'm kidding. I look at this, right, and that's, so Sam's alluding to the question that I always set with salespeople, that I just wish they had more urgency around their leads. I'm so tired of hearing, oh, these are junk leads and all this. And granted, right, I'm not going to sit here on my high horse and be like, all leads are gold. But what I will tell you is that you don't have the right to decide what's gold or not until you've done your due diligence. So you look at this, and what sticks out to me in this is that people are so far down their buying purchase or down their purchase cycle that I have the intent to put in my email and cell phone number. So I ask salespeople all the time, I'm like, hey, when's the last time you put your email or your cell phone number into anything web? They're like, wouldn't do it. Yeah, why? Well, because I don't want them to bug me. I'm like, oh, Somebody put their contact information in there assuming you would bug them, assuming you would reach out to them, and yet we don't, or we do it very poorly. I look at this, and you look at line 11 up here at deliveries, and that's a percentage of your sales that started as a lead. So if you have 30% of your sales that start as a lead, benchmark, meaning the top 10% do it 59% of their deliveries are starting as a lead. Why would you not care more, is what I tell every salesperson. Just care about your digital leads because they're there. Think about how far, again, down the funnel they are into saying yes to something because they gave you their contact information, they reached out to you.
Another thing that I want you to look at is if we said we had 3,400 digital leads, everything coming in that is not a person, right? And then you look at the appointment set, which we all agree is atrocious, okay? Then I look at that 67.3% on appointments kept. Those people, once you get them in the door, you got them. 67%, if you look over to the right, that 88.7, which is 89%, almost 90%, that's the best dealers in the country at a benchmark. You're closing 90% of those people. So where I say focus on digital, it is, what do we call it that, a treasure trove, Dantzler?
There it is.
Here we
Let's see,
go.
it was only 40, 35
It's a
minutes.
treasure trove.
Tony's favorite phrase on the podcast, if you don't know. I'll repeat it. You got to be better than that, Scott.
User error. There we go. Sorry.
Found him.
So, my daughter's mid-20s. They don't buy any. They don't go into any store until they've looked online first, right?
Sure.
I can't tell you how many restaurants I've had to go to because they saw a TikTok, an Instagram, a whatever, Snapchat. I don't know what it is, right?
Bingo.
But it's like, hey, Dad, we got to try this place, and I'm like, no, we got our sushi place already. No, I don't want to go to that place. No, we got to try this, and so everything's of course the greatest and the latest and the most awesome. I'm wondering, of your 20 groups, how many of them are utilizing social media like Instagram and TikTok and that kind of stuff? B, of those folks that you've got that maybe weren't using it, but then they started using it, do you have any examples of kind of what that meant for them for sales and hot leads and, level of activity and that kind of stuff? Because I can tell you I've got 3 dealerships around me, almost equidistant from my house, that I can take my motorcycle to for service for my brand. And 2 of them, I'm getting stuff all the time online, on Facebook, on TikTok. I'm constantly getting stuff from them. The 3rd, I never hear from, and I never go to. Plus, one of them does regular rides, like almost monthly or every other month they're doing rides that are organized rides. Come on out on a Sunday and do it for free. And everybody there starts to know each other and feel good about it and all that kind of stuff. But if you're not utilizing that, I talked to somebody yesterday who's got a 50-year dealership and was talking about how they had the worst 3 months of the history, the last 3 months out in, kind of the area where I am. And I thought, I've never seen anything on any of the social media feeds from that dealership. And I think they're still doing stuff old school. They're not doing this. So do you have any examples of folks that, first of all, what percentage of them are actually doing that, and maybe even spending a little money with Google to try to make sure that theirs is the top feed that we're going to see versus 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th, whatever it is, page 2 on your on the results. And then secondly, what has happened for folks that have kind of come from doing none of that and then are being more active with it and kind of getting into the 21st century?
What do you think, gang? Who comes to mind?
My first answer to your first question is how many? I'll say not enough. That's the easy, obvious statement, is not enough. So when I sit in my 20 groups, part of what we do as they're going through their numbers, either me or the chairperson will pull up their website, to Tony's point, and we'll judge or critique their website. We also pull up all their social media, and we judge and critique their social media. I don't have the specific numbers for you. I can get them for you of what he was able to do. But his goal was to drive, and I also have to ask him, to be frank, I have to ask him if I can share all of his coolness. His goal was to drive fixed operations and parts. That was it. He goes, my sales team's doing well. I don't want that, but I'm going to intentionally put all my social media game towards fixed ops and parts. And his gross dollars went up 20% over 6 months. In just those two, right? And I can speak to him because we were just working through his social media. And the craziest thing, it was not about selling stuff. It was, hey, meet Joe, meet Bob, meet Sarah. They were introducing their team. They were making funny jokes. They were doing things on social media that everybody does on social media that's not selling stuff. Because then they would come in and ask, hey, oh, you're Bob, you're Joe, you're Sarah. And they were getting engagement and reasons to come by. Then they sprinkled in a little bit of come see us, this is our clearance tent, right? And then they would sprinkle in some of that. And it was about 20% increase in contribution on or gross in both of his fixed ops departments, just being intentional about it and not putting up the same old picture of Sam and the motorcycle he bought. Every single time. And I get it, and it's cool, we should celebrate those, but you need another reason to be posting, and it's just for interaction. That's the one specific example I have. There's a few others out there, but I have not really tracked the incremental increase other than his.
I'm going to jump to the boating industry. M3 Boats, a guy named Mark Doherty, follows a general rule, which is anything I'm going to put up is going to be fun or educational. I'm not putting up a sale. I'm not hitting you up with the business. I'm hitting you up with something fun or educational that maybe you didn't know. He talks about backing the trailer down the ramp. There's a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of fails on that out on YouTube that you can watch. But he talks about how you can actually do that. How do you hold the right weight for the person behind the boat who's surfing at the right speed, all that kind of stuff. But he posts a lot of stuff about, he's out on the lake at like right when the sun's coming up and no one else, and it's just pure glass, and he's talking about, he's sitting on the boat with his family. And it's just it's a drone shot that goes around it like that and it flies away. It says M3 Boats, right? Their sales went through the roof. Because they're wake surf boat, that's all they do. They don't do pontoons, they don't do fishing boats, they don't do anything. And the sales literally, I don't have the number on the top of my head, but their sales go through the roof because they're selling dreams, memories, and experiences. They're not selling widgets. We've got to get away from selling widgets. And to Schooley's point, hey, look at Sam and his new motorcycle. It's just Sam and a widget, as opposed to, hey, Sam, talk to us a little bit about the adventure ride that you just went on. And walking through that story is something people want to engage with. So I think it has to be good content, to Schooley's point, but I also think if that's how you come across online, which looks super fun and amazing, and then I get Johnny, that sales guy, and it's a totally different product than when I thought it was online, we lost it, right? Which is why my big thing with AI is we're creating so much efficiency to push more eyes on your business or more people in to engage your salespeople. If the salespeople aren't ready to create those experiences for people, you're going to push more people to you who then won't buy you and have that reputation or the mindset of that reputation. So I think education and experiences are really good for the online stuff. That's happening, Joe?
I think there were two different questions there, because one, you mentioned like SEO and impressions and things like that. I think the people in our 20 clubs, I would say, are a little more affluent with that. But talking about the like the influencer style, I think that's a very low percentage. So I would guess, and we have a lot of people that'll do this for us. There's a lot of people even out here that'll help us with our Google AdWords and things like that. So they get them. But then to Sam's point, they do a good job, but do you do a good job tying that together? I've put that out and I'm trying to get more clients in. Now I have them in, and what am I doing with them, if anything?
Yeah. Solid. Tony?
How many people here like social media advertising? Dantzler, raise your hand, dude. Everything that passes me is liked by you. Almost every single one I see. So
I didn't know it. You mean I clicked the button that I like that?
Yeah. So listen, are you kidding me that there are algorithms that will learn what it is that I like and is important to a 53-year-old man and where I travel and the stuff it puts in front of me? There's a lot of it I'm like, no, get this off, which is cool because you tell it, get it off, don't show me this, and it stops showing you that stuff, right? Social media has shown me some really, really cool stuff that I have uptake, and I empathize with you because my sons are the same way. Can we go try this food? Can we make this? Can we do this? Because they see these influencers, right? That should tell you everything you need to know and they answer your question, which is we have all of our dealers that are on social media, and that involves what I think Schoolie said is, here's a picture of Sam buying a motorcycle, which nobody cares about, and it doesn't draw in anybody to like or want to engage. When you look at the people that are succeeding on social media, it's because they put links that you tap on. Who here has actually put an Indian motorcycle lead where, you know, if you like this shirt, you can tap on the shirt and it takes you to that shirt's website. So why are we not doing with that with the side-by-side? Look at Sam just bought this side-by-side. You click right here, boom, it takes you to either your website or Polaris's or BRP's website, right? Why aren't we doing that? Why are we not putting links in bio? Every single influencer says merch and links in the bio. You click on here, you press that button, it takes you so they're not harnessing it, and they're not making it a video, because still pictures, unless it is epic, an epic picture, they do nothing. So we've been talking about videos forever, but I'll tell you this. I'm going to give you 2 hints. Is go to Sky Power Sports Sanford and go to Bumpus Harley Davidson of Murfreesboro and look on their Instagram pages and their YouTube channels if you want to see people doing it right. Murfreesboro, I actually can't wait for Ryan Tapley to put out a video. He does one a week, because they're that good and they're that entertaining and they make me laugh. And the success that they've had from those off the charts with him. And then if you want to look at Nate Stickney's dealership, Sky Power Sports Sanford, if you want to look at a dude that is tuned into every channel and thing and group and niche, that's the guy. And follow what he does, because he gets that, and he just happens to probably be one of the top 5 dealerships in the world. So, yeah.
Who will also say, go ahead and try.
Yeah, go ahead and try, man. I'll show you everything I got, man. If you want to do it, you can come copy me, no
Here's
problemo.
my recipe.
But you're not going to do it, because,
Yeah.
We got time for one more. Who's got one more question? And by the way, this doesn't end. You guys can reach out to us at any time. We're happy. It's Tony at, Jolene at, Schoolie at, Sam at garagecomposites.com, or if you don't know who to direct it to, info at garagecomposites.com. So anybody have one more question for us? Yeah.
So I'm mostly in the on-road market,
Okay.
looking at more getting into the off-road, and kind of wondering what you guys are seeing for what percentage should I push in the off-road, the on-road. I know each market's different. Grew up on motorsports, from dirt bikes, quads, side-by-sides, everything, still do all of it. So I know I'm missing a lot of market by not having dirt in my shop, but what should I push in and try to grow in?
Say the last part of that again. What should you push in?
Well, just right now, working on only on-road stuff, there's a lot of market that, well, Dad rides a Harley, but my son rides a dirt bike. Why don't I hit both? So what should I push? I'm a much smaller shop than most of what you deal with. Is it better to keep promoting just the on-road and stick to where I'm at? Or do I push into getting into the off-road, getting the dirt bikes in there, getting some of them guys in there?
I'm going to give you a generic answer. I'm going to give you a couple data points, and then we'll see what the rest of the team has. The generic answer is you got to know the market you're in, right? If you're in an off-road market, you're having people beating down your door. Why don't you carry? Or at least there are tons of shops around you that are carrying it. You got a bunch of tracks available to you. I think you need to know the area that you're going to play in. The statistics tell us that if you look up there on the road, if you follow that line all the way across to the right, it says percentage of sales, 22.6%. So in our industry, 22.6% of everything sold is a road motorcycle. And then you go down and look at UTV at 38.5, right? And then ATV is at 9.5, but off-road is running at 5.5%. So I don't know how much you want to go deep into something that's going to yield maybe 5% of your business. I would take the numbers into consideration, and you can see them very clearly here, and we're happy to share this with you if you'd like.
Okay.
What else do you guys have on that?
I would just scroll down and look at the margin on each as well, because that's going to play into it.
Yeah, so 14.6% on road, 15.8 on off-road, and then you got 13 and 15 on UTV and ATV as well. So I'd run the math and see if it makes sense if you're in an area where you can play that game.
My thing is who are you, right? If you're, and I know I'm an on-road person. My dealership is on road. I'm passionate. I service on road. I'm an off-road person. I'm a mix. If you kill it and that's your specialty and that's the culture under your roof is I sell on road and I make a lot of money, some people would say you're going to complicate your life with flooring and big things in your dealership. If you have people that are passionate about side-by-sides and dirt and you love it, I mean, don't do it just because like I need to take in everything because everybody's doing it. There's people that are very successful in single line dealerships that kick ass by selling this one thing fantastic.
What if you flirted with used? What if you just dipped your toe into some off-road on some used game and see how it goes? That way, you know, and no disrespect to OEMs, but to Tony's point, like flooring and OEMs and programs, those are big commitments, obviously. Maybe there's an opportunity for some good, clean, used off-road. Maybe you're more into agricultural farm construction, more utility UTV versus romping Baja off-road UTV. So there's also different areas within those, right? As you know. So think about what's happening in your market in the off-road side. Is it utility? Is it side-by-sides ripping? Is it small kids, dirt bikes getting into motocross tracks? Is it single track riding in the mountains? Like, what is your area? And maybe dabble in a little bit of used first to see what kind of interest is there. I think that would be a good way to dip your toes in without fully jumping in the pool. Maybe look at some used off-road options.
It's a great answer. You can see the margins right there on pre-owned. They're all in the 20s on the off-road stuff that's up there, right? So it's a great answer.
And buddy, if you hit us up at info@Garage Composites, we can send you this national average and you can dig into it and we'll answer any questions you got.
Absolutely. Gang, we're at the threshold here. Thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate it. I'm going to speak for my whole team and tell you we don't exist without you guys. And I get emotional when I'm here because I get to play in an industry that I've been in love with my whole life. So thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts. Enjoy the rest of the show. Thanks, gang.
Thank you, folks. So great. So appreciated.